Hi, I'm Eric Miller with the Geometric MADI Museum in Dallas, Texas, here to talk about a new show coming up in July.
Hi, I am Maria Cristina Esteves, and I would like to introduce to you the Museum of Geometric and MADI Art. It is known as the MADI, and it is located in Dallas, Texas. The MADI is the only museum of geometric and MADI art in the United States. MADI means movement, abstraction, design, invention. The MADI art comes out of the frame and off of the wall. Today, we are here because we're going to talk about the upcoming show, 5 in Motion, featuring 5 talented and amazing Venezuelan artists. I'm going to let them to introduce themselves, starting with Mariana Copello.
Hello, my name is Mariana Copello. I'm a Houston-based Venezuelan artist. And to say something quickly around me, I can say that my life revolves around art.
Adriana?
Hi, my name is Adriana Dorta. I am Venezuelan. I live in Key Biscayne, Florida. And through my art, I like to transmit passion, love, and peace.
And Luisa?
Hi, my name is Luisa Duarte. I am a Venezuelan artist based in Houston, and I'm also a trained architect. So that goes along very well with the geometrical abstraction MADI movement. Thank you. Nice to be here.
Lorena?
Hi, my name is Lorena Morales. I am as well from Venezuela. And my work is about movement, and I want to invite the people to walk around them and connect with them.
And Delsy?
Hi, I'm Delsy Rubio. I'm Venezuelan visual artist. My art is my passion and my peace place.
And you're joining us.
I live in Venezuela.
You're joining us from Venezuela, right?
Yes, she's joining from Venezuela.
And now if we can go around one at a time, and we'll start with Mariana again. And I wanted to ask you, how did you get started with your art?
Well, I study also advertising and public relations in Venezuela, but I also want to initiate my art back there. So I started working at the Museum of Contemporary Art, the MADI, that was that year in the 98 started. Also, I found and teach children art for many years. Then I have the opportunity to live overseas because of the work of my husband. And also I can see that all those experience and cultures and living in different countries also help me, you know, get inspired and see other inspirations. And back in Houston, I arrived here in 2011. So I start my formal training as a sculptor. I had classes at the Glacier School of Art from the Museum of Fine Art Houston. And I finished last year my certificate, and also I had the opportunity to work for a year also with Lorena, that we worked together for a year in a kind of a residency that they offer at the museum, and it was a wonderful experience, and it was last year too. So all my life, you know, my family, they're very artistic, and now my kids. So that's what I mentioned at first, that I have to say something in a phrase about myself. I said that I'm surrounded all the time, or revolves, you know, art around me all the time, from past to now and future.
Can you tell me where this sculpture is that's showing in your background?
This is a sculpture. It's a public sculpture that is here in Houston. It's in a subdivision, and it was a condition that I installed in December 2020. and it's a monumental piece in steel, geometric.
Now, Adriana, can you tell me how you got started with geometric art?
Yes, sure. Since a very early age, I was always looking for ways to create things with anything I could hold in my hands. But as I grew up, and I always continue like taking little classes and courses, and my family always saw it as a hobby as well as I did. I went to school, I graduated from business, then I did a few years of law studies, but I had always continued my hobby, learning about ceramics, mosaics, and my passion, which was stained glass. We moved at a very early age to Paris, and that inspired me very much. After seeing those spectacular stained glass windows from those magnificent churches in Paris. So after that, I continue my hobbies and evolved with photography and continued with painting. It wasn't until 2008 that I had more free time for myself, since my son was older, that I decided to go back to school. And I joined a university here in Miami of art school, and did my visual arts. Since then, I haven't stopped creating and playing with different materials. I love, and I am very much inspired by the great masters, especially our Venezuelan great masters, Soto, Cruz Diez, Subero, among many others. And I try to recreate, inspired by this great grand creators of the movement. They were some of the group that created the kinetic styles. So I've been, right now I'm working on aluminum, titanium, acrylic. I just enjoy very much the fact that through art, you can express so many things, more than just an image. You can transmit energy, passion, feelings of love and peace. And that's kind of my idea. Thanks.
Great. Luisa, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you got started?
Yeah, it was, I've been creating since I was a little girl, but in my case, it started like a funny story. I used to paint in my house, and I kept it in a little room that I had. And one day, a friend of mine who's an artist came by and saw my work, and he said to me, "Lisa, you have to go out, you have to expose yourself." And I started to participate. There was an open call for art in chess, and I participated, and I got an honorable mention. So for me, that was an opening, and then I was invited to participate again to an exhibition project for 10 years. And to be part of that magnificent, dynamic, creative community gave me the push to switch my creative endeavors from architecture to the artistic endeavor. And when I moved to United States in 2003, I had the opportunity to take 3 courses and expand my knowledge in printmaking. Mostly I do a lot of printmaking. I work with technology, which is very important for me, related to the geometric abstraction. I do other things as well with my hands, but the geometric part of my work is mostly related to technology and to this immense, colorful background that we had in Venezuela.
Do you have a favorite skyscraper in Houston?
All of them.
All of them?
and I tend to project them somehow in my work, in my prints.
Awesome.
I like that.
So next is Lorena. Do you want to tell us how you got started?
Well, I don't know when I start. Officially, I got started in 2003, but I was lucky to grow up on a home where my mother is also a visual artist, and she owned an art gallery for many years. So for me, art was part of my life, like something like normal for us. I grew up looking at art around my house. Usually my mom has all the walls filled with art from the ceiling to the floor. So, and for us, always pushing us to take art classes with artists that show at the gallery. So for me at that time was kind of a hobby. I used to draw a lot, portraits with pastels, but I took like seriously art, like professional art, when I moved to Houston in 2003. Back in Venezuela, I was working, and then when we moved here, there was a moment that the kids were at the school, and my husband at work, and then, well, what I will do? So we decide, okay, then like start taking seriously and take art classes at the Glassell School of Art at the Museum of Fine Art, Houston. So I graduated in 2009. There, I graduated in painting and sculpture there. From there, like I have been like, for me, it has been not a stop of experimenting with different materials. For me, the materials the use of material is really important, and is a important part of my research. So when I don't do a sketch, it's like I have an idea in my mind, and then immediately I start to figure out how I will produce it. And the first thing is to look for materials to do it. And then from there, okay, start the research, and then I do my work. But I am like, I find myself constantly pushing myself and looking for a new way of present my work. So I am always challenging myself to do it. More like all my work has a kinetic factor in it. It's about movement, it's about light. So they will change depending of the lighting in the room or the position of the viewer toward the work. I have done installation, sculptures, drawings, paintings. I really try to free myself to try everything. Yes.
Great. And last but not least, we're just going alphabetically. Delsy.
Well, I finished my art study at 1985, but after that I worked as a graphic designer in advertising until 10 years ago when I started to make sculpture. y no, está, él no me entendió. Tienen que traducirle. Lo puedo decir en español. Lo digo en español y ustedes le traducen.
You did it well. You did great, Delsy.
You did great.
Ok, lo voy a decir en español.
Está bien.
Yo terminé en el año 1985, terminé mis estudios de arte. Yo estudié dibujo, pintura y estudié luego arte gráfica. Pero un amigo me propuso trabajar en ese momento en las agencias de publicidad y estuve 25 años en la agencia, pues me encantaba la publicidad, también ese mundo es maravilloso. En ese tiempo manejé la feria de arte, la imagen gráfica de la feria de arte que se hace en la ciudad de Maracaibo. Y estuve muy ligada a varios artistas, varias galerías. Vi muchos tipos de trabajo y bueno, ahora tengo que sacar mi propio estilo. Tengo que crear algo que no sea algo que ya haya visto. Entonces, exploré los relieves unicolores y creé esculturas multiniveles donde ya resaltan los volúmenes cuando le incide la luz. Y desde entonces, pues he estudiado los relieves. Ese es mi discurso en el arte, en lo que manejo temas intangibles. Ok, no sé qué le traducen, tal vez ustedes.
Claro. Mariana, ¿tú quieres traducirle a Eric?
No, de verdad que no, me perdí en algún
Delsy said that she was involved in the advertisement industry for many, many years. And then she started participating in art and as getting involved in art shows. And even she was the person who organized art fair. So since then, she get inspired to do art by herself, and she started joining the art movement, let's say, and working in the geometric type of art.
Excellent.
Thank
So maybe
you.
we can,
Thank you, Maria Cristina.
maybe we can combine these next two questions and go around and answer them and say, if you can say why do you work in a geometric style and what is your inspiration? And again, we'll start with Mariana.
Well, really geometric is my way of expression, I can say, because this is our heritage or that we have for the experience and the way that we live back in Venezuela, being surrounded with art and all those masters are, as Adriana mentioned. I think in some way, when I want to express myself through art, you know, those things are connected, and I found beauty working with the rectilinear line and the color that is very strong element in the things that define my artwork. To talk a little bit about inspiration, really at this moment is a question that I sit back and think, because now with the situation that we at the beginning of, I can say that my inspiration can come from experience, from memories, from our everyday life, things that inspire us. But with the experience that I have got with this situation about the pandemic, it really, I sit back and I try to focus on other things at home, and that part of art, particularly for myself, has stopped a little bit to start to be, creative and in other ways, to try to be more mom and mother, try to, work at those things in the house. And lately I get back to the studio and I realize that really what I find inspiration and it's been, around my own space. There is a studio, start researching, my projects that I did before. I put on the table and I start cutting, paper, start making little maquettes. So really getting the track again to start continue working and getting involved, you know, in the studio, the ideas start, you know, coming. And now I'm very excited that things like our exhibition, you know, is going through as well. So those are things that now you start, you know, thinking, you know, in the future, and those inspiration and energy comes back again. So, but it's, at the end, it's like the experience, you know, the things that today, maybe we can close this chat, this Zoom, and you get inspired about somebody that mentioned something, or just the emotional things, you know, that, you know, really put you in a, and track back again.
Excellent. Adriana, you want to tell us why you work in a geometric style and what is your inspiration?
Sure. I love art in general. I love different materials, styles, but I follow the advice of one of the greatest masters I had the pleasure of meeting, that worked all his life in this style. And he mentioned to me to continue this path until the last consequences. Those were his specific words. And also, I follow the advice of curators that I admire and respect, and they have also commented to me the same. So it is, to me, very easy to be in this path of geometry, MADI, kinetic, because as I was telling you before, how I was impressed with the stained glass windows and the refraction of the light, and how the eye perceives it. It's a fascination to me. So I try to research and study the ways of the optical human eye perceives the light. And lately I've been studying the theory of color and light, and I'm fascinated also with the diffraction of light through color, and I've created a new cycle of pieces that I'm currently making in aluminum, where there are different panels with different dimensions that, as you perceive them, you could feel actually a movement, and even the colors interchange and become not perfectly clear to the eye. So I'm researching that area, and I love it. And on the other side of the question, I believe we have a big responsibility as artists, because it's a way to inspire younger generations or people that are, you know, pursuing this path. And one is, it's very possible to do so, but you have to do it with preparation. It's not something that you just go and play around. You have to study, you have to prepare yourself, you have to try to, you know, take it seriously and be persistent. And I think that's part of our responsibility, to try to be the best creators, or whatever we end up making, you know, to be the best thing we could do. And also a way to transmit peace, love, beauty. We're surrounded by so many difficulties in our world nowadays that we need to look for hope. So that's how I envision my work. Thanks.
Excellent. Luisa's next.
Yes. For me, geometric, it comes very natural. You know, it's like a way that I have found like a language to speak about my research, my memories. Even though it looks very calculated, very mechanical, I guess right now, part of my studies in architecture and my practice as an artist, it comes very easy to me. It's the easiest way. I always start doing those shapes that I manipulate later with their position, with the color, with the textures, the different textures that I use. And I guess the inspiration comes from this geometric abstract movement that was very much important in Venezuela when I was a little girl. And that aesthetics, I can say, I think, that it ruled all the ways of what meant to be order, cleanness, hope, organization, and that's what I like. I like to transmit through my very geometric pieces, like a hope, like a relationship between those shapes that somehow they are sometimes very evident and sometimes they are not. But that's when I'm working with them, that's what I transmit to the moment of creating.
Excellent. Lorena.
Okay. In my case, what is totally opposite to Luisa. I form myself into abstraction. As I told you, I used to do portraits. Since I was a little kid, for me it was drawings, portraits. But because I am always challenging myself, I was looking like, okay, this is like, has become too easy for me. I need to look for another ways to express myself. And there are like more, like I can become more passionate about it. So while taking our classes, of course, I enrolled in abstract painting classes. And of course, at the beginning was really difficult for me. It wasn't an easy path. I always try to put some figuration or something inside my work. But then I became fascinated about patterns, like repetition, about the color, about the movement. And then at the end, it's like now has become something so natural for me. Like now I cannot see me doing other like an abstraction. And now this is my vocabulary, and to talk about home and how my perception of home has changed over the years. So that is the reason all my work is about movement. And like the artwork I will present at the MADI is like the kind of the artwork I have in my background, that they are chromolites. And they belong to an exhibit, like Panorama's exhibition I planned that is, the title is Color in Present Time. Because it's talking about my current home in Houston. So it's like, okay, past, present, and future. It's like when you move around them, like side by side, the roads become transparent, like past and future. Like the past start like kind of disappearing, and the future is something that you don't know what will come. But what is it? Is the present, and it's the moment that you can enjoy really the colors. So, and of course, I have, like I told you, I grew up surrounded by art, looking at Cruz Diez artworks and Jesus Soto artworks. So I believe it's something that maybe come with our DNA. So
Yeah.
I don't know, being a Venezuelan is like something that comes with us. Like it's something that we need to, if we don't do it again, it's something that we explore at any moment in our lives. And then I got the amazing opportunity while I was studying at the LaSalle. I was selected to participate in an advanced seminary that was organized in conjunction with the Museum of Fine Art and the Carlos Cruz Diez Foundation. Seminary called The Doors of Perception. And we were a group of 8 artists that they select. We got a scholarship through the foundation. And we got the amazing opportunity to work with Carlos Cruz Diez side by side. So this was an amazing experience for me, and a learning and growing experience for me in this part of kinetic art.
Great. Thank you. So Delsy, if you want to speak in Spanish again and have someone translate, that'd be...
Yes, I will translate it for you, Delsy.
I think it's frozen. Delsy, maybe she lost the...
Oh, did we lose Delsy?
Yeah.
Oh, we lost.
Oh, she.
Well, maybe she'll come back on. We can start on the question about what are you hoping our audience in Dallas takes away from your 5 in Motion show? And if you want to start, Mariana.
Well, if I can say, something, let's see, in a just one sentence, I can say, like, learn from the diversity. I think we are a group of artists bringing, a new generation or a new vision of geometric abstraction, and that is a show that is going to be very innovative, different from the shows that usually you see in Texas. So it's another way of art or another way to perceive things. So I say, to resume, I think, learning, the more you see, the more you learn, the more you grow. So learn from this diversity that we're going to bring.
You see, the more you learn, the more you grow. I like it.
Yeah.
So, Adriana, you want to take a stab at that?
Sure. Venezuela is a great country. It's a very large country. We have over 25-30 million people living in currently. But unfortunately, our governmental situation is depriving all the human beings there with so many things that we usually take for granted. And to me, it's very important, this opportunity. 5 in Motion, a group of 5 Venezuelan ladies that we never knew each other until Ms. Elizabeth Castillo put us together, gave us the opportunity to showcase in her gallery in Miami. And now that the museum is taking us as a group, it's a privilege and a great opportunity to show everyone that Venezuela is much more than the tragedy we are used to see in the news. Venezuela has a lot of talented people, good people, professionals, talented, and hardworking. So here is a presentation of one of those 5 ladies Venezuelans that are trying their hardest to make a difference and to display to you that what Venezuela is more than what you usually see. Thank you.
Super. And Luisa.
Yeah, well, I agree with Adriana in the sense that we are 5 women, all Venezuelans, and I would like for the audience in Dallas to see that even though we come from a different country, then we adapt a movement that was born in Europe, and we adopt it and transform it and make it our own. And we project that commonalities that we have to another audience that we don't know. It's our first time showing there as a group. And I think it will bring us together as women, as artists, and as a community. And thank you very much.
Awesome. And Lorena?
Well, I joined all Luisa's, Adriana and Mariana voices about what we want to tell the people in Dallas. And this, yes, is an amazing opportunity that we are from different backgrounds from the same country, and we are like we are following like the same path of the abstraction, not the geometric abstraction. That is something that is really important for us. Doesn't matter what city or our work family we grow. It's like we all end with a similar language with our different states. And what I want to, let me see, because I have a connection like in between the Spanish and English right now, so it's like, and let me clear my ideas. Yeah, okay, I get blocked. Telling like there are always new ways to present abstraction, that innovative ways to present abstraction, and we are collaborating with this abstraction, presenting like variety and differently aesthetic with I don't know, I blocked, sorry.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Sorry, I just was reading that about Delsy, that she need to, you know, she cannot join us anymore. So I was like, okay.
Oh, so that answers that question. She's not able to join us again. Well,
yeah.
Thank you for thinking of that, paying attention to that too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it sounds like it's going to be a phenomenal show, and I can't wait to see all the artwork together. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. I know it's Geometric MADI on Instagram, and do you know the Facebook account, Maria?
Yes, it's the Museum of Geometric and MADI Art.
Excellent. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. And,
thank you. We look forward to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
in Dallas.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Yes.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.